What's happening, everybody? It's Rod with Pow Group. Welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ stocks, crypto assets, news, and interviews. Today's Wednesday, January 29th. Hope you're well. And in this video, we have an article from the MJ Herald. We're going to be discussing it. Trump still supports safe banking and rescheduling, and we also have an update on the RFK Jr hearing. We'll see if they do confirm him. And spoiler alert, there was no mentioning of MJ. Go figure. Before we get to it, make sure to smash the like, help support me in the channel. If you're new, you can subscribe, tick the bell, you'll be notified on any future content. And as always, this is not financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. You can also follow us over on X, formerly Twitter. Handle for that is @GroupPow. Also, not feeling too good. I got a super sore throat today, so we'll get through this a little bit quicker than normal. President Trump continues to support the Safer Banking Act and MJ rescheduling. So as you can see, this is by Anthony Martinelli, January 29th, 2025. A spokesperson for President Donald Trump says he remains supportive of both MJ banking reform and federal rescheduling. And then there was this article here from the MJ Moment today. Trump was tricked into endorsing Florida MJ legalization initiative, GOP senator says. When I see a headline like that, I just think imbecile. And this guy has no idea what he's talking about. He's talking out of his you know what, and yeah, just absolute nonsense. I can't even think about that. Right? It's just it hurts my brain to go that low IQ, especially when it's like, okay, in your face, President Trump still continues to support safer banking and MJ rescheduling. It's what he said from the get go, right? And they talk about later on in this article about Amendment 3 in Florida as well, which we know Florida is going to be potentially up for a vote again in the 2026 ballot. So we'll see. We'll continue to follow that story as well as it develops. So in quotations, President Trump continues to support MJ banking, particularly the Safer Banking Act, and also continues to support rescheduling MJ, a deputy communications director told the MJ Herald via email. The Safer Banking Act, which had strong bipartisan backing last session and is expected to be refiled soon, would provide MJ businesses access to financial services by allowing banks to work with state legal MJ businesses without fear of federal penalties. The bill would also allow legal MJ businesses to take standard IRS tax deductions, and eventually 280E goes away if we get it rescheduled. But I've always said on this channel, I did say many times in the past, it's got to be multiple years at this point, that I believe that we would see safer banking uplisting to the NYSE and the NASDAQ, because we got to get the Wall Street banks position first, right? The Goldman Sachs, the Morgan Stanleys, the JP Morgans. Nothing in the world happens without them. So that's why I think before we have any meaningful reform, especially federal legalization, more than likely in form of descheduling from the CSA, I think we're going to get safer banking. I think the industry is going to get banked. Choke point will be kind of a thing of the past. I think it was Brady Cobb who's with Sunburn. He mentioned on X that he's been debanked. I think he said 2 or 3 times. So this nonsense has to stop. And like I said, it only makes sense that they position the institutions, the hedge funds, and the big Wall Street banks first. Like I said, get safer banking, bring the industry into the banking world, uplist it to the NYSE and the NASDAQ, where all of the big wigs play, and then see meaningful reform. I still stand behind that. Trump's support for rescheduling MJ indicates that the Biden administration's effort to move MJ to Schedule 3 may still have a chance of seeing enactment despite DEA judge canceling a set of public hearings scheduled to begin January 21st. So there's a little bit of hopium there. The judge has ordered those involved to provide an update after 90 days. If you haven't seen my video on the interim pick for DEA head, you can check that out. But essentially, he wasn't a huge fan of MJ. But in order of time, make sure to check out that video if you haven't already seen it. The Department of Health and Human Services has recommended moving MJ to Schedule 1 to Schedule 3, which would allow medicines derived from MJ to be prescribed nationwide, in addition to giving state legal patients and businesses a plethora of protections not currently afforded to them. However, the final decision rests with the DEA. So again, which is absolute asinine, right? They're supposed to enforce the law? It's in the name. Why are they basically being the deciding factor? So we'll see what happens there. But ultimately, I think it's going to come from the top down. And, it's just MJ is going to be in the spotlight in a couple of months, maybe even, a year or two. But we need big tech, crypto, AI to jump out of the spotlight. We had a little bit of a mixed bag today with big tech earnings, Tesla, Meta, and Microsoft. So I think it's going to happen sooner than later. I don't think it's too far around the corner where MJ should stand to benefit, just like in 2018 when Canada legalized federally. When they legalized it, MJ went on the biggest run ever, and crypto went into a bear market and big tech. So I think something similar is going to happen. Big tech, AI, crypto, that'll top out, and then that rotation will happen into the MJ space. And I think, psychedelics, MJ, biotech could be the best performing over the next couple of years. In addition to support safer banking and rescheduling, President Trump last year endorsed a Florida initiative to legalize recreational MJ Amendment 3. And as I said, there's a good chance that Florida legalization ends up in the ballot again for 2026. And this time around, who knows? Maybe we can get it done. I think it came in at 57%. We need 60% threshold. Some states are 50% supermajority, so it's not an easy feat. But yeah, we'll see what happens there. We'll continue to monitor it. And RFK Jr was asked 0 MJ-related questions during confirmation hearing. Go figure. So not surprising. Again, they don't want to even say the word, right? They don't want to get people excited. They want to keep it under wraps as much as possible. And then once, like I said, safe banking, once we get uplisting to the NYSE and the NASDAQ, then we'll get meaningful reform in the US, which is the biggest economy in the world. And this industry is going to explode like you wouldn't believe. During his confirmation hearing today for Health and Human Services Secretary RFK Jr., received not a single question related to MJ or psychedelics, despite his long-held support for both. So during the hearing, RFK Jr. was asked numerous times about vaccines, abortions, rural hospitals, and more, but none of the senators questioned him asked him to clarify the approach he'll take to MJ and psychedelics. RFK Jr. has been a vocal advocate for MJ reform, including endorsing legalization and removing MJ as a Schedule I drug. What I've advocated is that we should legalize MJ, said RFK Jr. in 2023. We should have a federal tax on the MJ that is designated specifically for drug treatment and rehabilitation. In addition, he supports his support for MJ reform. RFK Jr. has expressed openness to the therapeutic potential of psychedelics, so specifically MDMA, and including treatments for PTSD and depression, psilocybin, all that good stuff. So we'll see what happens here with regards to this. I don't think there would be anything held up. I think he will get confirmed. And like I said, what Trump usually wants, Trump gets. Love him or hate him, you can't deny that fact. And like I said, I think this policy shift is going to come from the top down. And like I said, I think we just have to be a little bit patient, a little bit more patient, something we know all too well in this industry as investors. But one thing's for sure is this industry isn't going anywhere, and we have major reform, not just from a legalization perspective, but a banking reform, right? We're going to see more than likely uplisting to the NYSE and the NASDAQ, pro-business, pro-common sense, and just pro America. So giving the people what they want, right? I think it's 88% of people want some form of legalization in the US, right? It's getting ridiculous. It's time to give the people what they want. All right, going to end it there. It's Rod with Pow Group. Thanks again for joining us on the Pursuit of Wealth. Let me know what you think of this news in the comment section. We'll continue the conversation there. Have a great one, and we'll see you again on the next video.